Hey guys, so today we're going to be simplifying algebraic fractions that involve multiplication. This video is only going to deal with multiplication. There'll be another video for division and another one for addition and another one for subtraction. Let's start off with simple fractions. When we have simple fractions and we multiply simple fractions, all we have to do is multiply the top two terms together and the bottom two terms together. So here we have 3 times 2, which is 6, over 6 times 3, which is 18. Now, we can simplify these fractions very simply by either dividing the top and bottom by a common divisor, or if you're too lazy, you can type it into your calculator and press equals and it'll give you the most simplest form. We know 6 goes into both of them, so the simplest fraction there is 1 over 3. However, I just wanted to show you that when you're multiplying any fraction, whether it's a simple number or an algebra or a whole expression, you just multiply the top two together and the bottom two together. Let's do some algebraic fractions here. Here I have x times 2, which is 2x, and I have 5 times y over 5y. Cannot simplify that any further, so we leave it as is. Here I have x times x, which is x squared, over y times b, which is yb. Again, cannot simplify that any further, so we'll leave it as is. Now, let's move on to how we can simplify algebraic fractions by factorising first. Now, before we go through this, I'm going to tell you all of the methods, the general methods of factorising that we use at this stage. The first method is HCF, or using common factors. The next factorising method is quadratics or trinomials. The next method is perfect squares. One of the most commonly used methods is number 4, which is difference of two squares. We also have grouping in pairs, factorising by grouping in pairs. And the last one, which we won't be using in this video, is difference and sum of 2 cubes. So they're all of the factorising methods that we have. Now, you need to go down the list and say which one applies to the question so we can simplify it. Now, if you want to write that down, write it down, because I am going to erase this so that I can start doing this question here. All right, so let's have a look at this question here. Now, looking at the top, 2x plus 4, I know I can factorise that by highest common factor. So let's factorise it. The highest common factor of 2 and 4 is 2. I'm left with x plus 2. Times 6 all over 3 times x plus 2. Remember, we times the top together and we times the bottom together. We times the top together and the bottom together. Because I factorize the top, I times it by the top. Now, when you're multiplying, you can cancel the same terms or the brackets out. Only when you're multiplying can you cancel them out. So here, x plus 2 is up the top and x plus 2 is down the bottom, so they cancel out. Now I'm left with 2 times 6 over 3, which then equals 12 over 3, which then equals how many holes 3's go into 12? 4. And that's my final answer there. Oh. All right, so let's go on to another version of this. Now, looking at, I'm going to label these terms as term number 1, term number 2, term number 3, and term number 4. Oh, expression, sorry. Expression number 1 can be factorized with y as the highest common factor, y plus 1. And term number 2 can be factorized with 2 and y plus 4. And term number 3 can be factorized as to 2y plus 3. And the bottom term can be factorized as 3y plus 1. Now let's see, what can we cancel out here? So looking at this question, I can cancel out y plus 1 and y plus 1. And I can also cancel out, that's it. So now we're left with y times 2, times 2y plus 3 all over 2y plus 4 times 3. Now we could expand this and simplify it further. However, we're going to leave it like this for now, just to ensure that you understand the basic concepts. Okay, let's go on to a third example. Here, I again have term 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so let's go through term 1. Now, term 1, I want you to try and figure out which of the factorizing methods I can use here. Now, if you don't know, you need to go watch all the videos of the different factorizing methods. But I'm telling you now that term number 1 is a difference of 2 squares. So we square root the first term and the last term, and I get m plus 1, m minus 1. Now, term 2 is a quadratic. So I need to find times plus times, two numbers that multiply to give me 5 and add to give me negative 6. Now, I know that because it's negative 6 for the addition, that both the numbers have to be negatives, because both negative numbers multiplied will give me plus, and both numbers subtracted or added will give me a negative. So I know the two numbers are negative 5, negative 1. Yep, negative 5, negative 1. So it's going to be m negative 5, m negative 1. And again, when we multiply, we're just multiplying them across, so it doesn't matter. Now, the third term here is another quadratic. So what number multiplied gives me 25 and added or subtracted gives me minus 10? Again, here, the same case. I need two negative numbers because I need to get to negative 10. And I know that the two numbers are negative 5, negative 5. So m minus 5, m minus 5. And down the bottom, term number 4 is going to be a difference of 2 squares. So it's going to be square rooting both. I'm going to get m and 5. So it's going to be m plus 5, m minus 5. Now we can cancel out before we simplify. So the first term is m plus 1. Do I have any m plus 1s down the bottom? No. M minus 1. Yep, I have an m minus 1 down the bottom. I cancel that out. M minus 5. I have an m minus 5 down the bottom. I can cancel that out. Another m minus 5, and I have m minus 5 down the bottom. Now, all I write as my end answer is whatever's left, which is m plus 1 all over m plus 5. And that's my end answer. Now, I want you to try these two yourself. Pause the video and give it a shot, and then I'll go through the answers with you guys. Okay, so you should have finished answering these. So let's do these. I'm going to, again, label as 1, 2, 3, and 4, so you know what I'm talking about. Term 1 is a HCF, so you have 5y minus 3. Term 2 is a HCF as well. So you have 2y plus 4. Term 3 is nothing, so it's just going to be y plus 4. And I'm going to put that in brackets because we're multiplying the whole thing. And down the bottom is just going to be 10. Now I can cancel out here y plus 4 and y plus 4 because we are multiplying. When we're multiplying, I can cancel out the numbers. I can cancel out the same values on top and down the bottom. Now, all I write as my final answer is what's left, which is 5y minus 3 over 2 times 10, which is then equals 5y minus 3 over 20 as my final answer. Okay, let's go through example number 2. Example number 2 is for quadratics. All right, again, I'm going to label it. Let's use another color. Label it as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I'm referring to them, you know what they are. All right, quadratic number 1. Times plus times. What two numbers times to give 2 and add to give 3? It's 2 and 1. So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 1. I'm going to do number 3 up the top just to ensure that I'm writing them all next to each other. So now quadratic number 3. Times to give me 12 and add to give me 7. That is 3 and 4. So it's going to be x plus 3, x plus 4. Now we're going to do term number 2 and 4. Term number 2, x squared plus 5x plus 6. The two numbers that multiply to give me 6 and add to give me 5 are 3 and 2. So I have x plus 3, x plus 2. And term number 4, two numbers that times to give me 4 and add to give me 5 are 4 and 1. X plus 4, x plus 1. Now remember, we can only cancel out when we are multiplying. When we're adding or subtracting, it's a different story. So now we can cancel out. X plus 2, I have 1 up the top and 1 down the bottom. X plus 1, I have 1 up the top and 1 down the bottom. X plus 3, I have 1 up the top, 1 down the bottom. X plus 4, 1 up the top, 1 down the bottom. So when everything cancels out, the answer is just 1. Now, very rarely will you get just 1, but in this case we did. So whatever's left over, that's final answer. Hopefully that helped you. Please watch the other videos in regards to algebraic fractions with division, algebraic fractions with addition, and algebraic fractions with subtraction. Thank you very much.